Hello and welcome back to Boring Dad Gaming, where today I'm going to be playing some more Citizen Sleeper. So I've been thinking about whether to sort of wait for the final story DLC to be released, or whether to sort of try and pursue this happy ending for Lem and Mina, and I think I'm going to do the latter. Which means we've got sort of a hard 8-cycle deadline on our game. We're going to rest now. Need to get our dice back. That's fine. We'll eat when we wake up. Oops, I did leave, didn't I? I keep doing that. Silly. So I think we work towards that. I'd like to see more. I mean, we are still working through the second chapter of the DLC. Oh, I should have. Damn it! I should have used some stabilizer. I'll use it now, just so I don't forget at the end of this cycle. What was I saying? Yeah, I kind of want to continue seeing what the DLC has to offer, but just need to bear in mind we've got a sort of hard timer down there. We've got to sort of do as well. Well, Peak's ready to speak to us, so let's speak to them. Have you ever heard of Can Channel Sleeper? Peak asks as soon as you enter the bay, as if you're in the middle of a conversation. There are heavy circles under their eyes, and you aren't sure if they've moved since you last visited. The console they're working at seems to have grown too, shadowing their slight frame in a wealth of screens and wires. Sounds familiar. I'm sure they do. Peak turns to face you. Kiamani's active negation, the name of the effect used to transport trillions of tons of materials from the surrogate systems to the core. You might have heard of it in your physics classes. At XBR, they hammered the principles into us as kids. Can. Peak recites the definition as if in the classroom. A process of collapsing spatial causality along the Euclidean distance between 2 points by negating mass simultaneously at both ends of a geodesic curve. What does that mean? Essentially, can channels allow for the near instantaneous transport of raw materials between systems. They require huge volumes of energy, of course, and decades of construction. But once a can channel is established, it opens up a system for infinite exploitation. The backbone of surrogacy is what XPR called them. Peak shakes their head. They might not be able to send anything more complex than a rock through them. Complex machines and people are, shall we say, reconfigured by the process. But for raw, molecularly pure materials? Peak flicks a hand. Whoosh. So where's this going? Peak pauses. What I was trying to find out was whether the Hellion system, this system, ever had a can channel. Can channels are vastly expensive to build, to run. Not every surrogate system has one. Many use fraction draft ships to transport their materials to the nearest hub. But Solheim, Peak smiles, Solheim spared no expense when they established this system. So there's a can channel? Yep. Peak's eyes light up. They shut it down before the collapse. They couldn't run the sender-receiver station anymore. But it was there. Still is as far as I can tell, closely orbiting our star. In fact, Peak grins. They've been building up to this. I'm sure it's still there because one of the issues with can channels are the massive waves of exotic energy they can produce when cycling up. Ooh, the flux. Exactly. Peak's face suddenly drops. Someone is starting up the channel. Why? Peak sucks in a breath. That, I don't know. They start counting off information on their... Oh, sorry, that's not them talking. They start counting off information on their fingers. They'd need a lot of resources to do it, and they need to have people from the core systems. There's no real large-scale extraction in the Hellion system anymore, so why would you go to the trouble? Just to trigger the flux? Peak rubs their red eyes. The flux, the wave the can effect produces, is a side effect, a problematic one. But it isn't a destructive force. If it was, the core systems would have never been able to use it. So then why are colonies collapsing because of it? Why is it chewing through systems, the kind of industrial systems set up to function within the range of a once active can channel? Peak is getting frustrated. The moons of Ember have been terraforming since before the collapse. They would have had to deal with the flux, yet everything we've heard from the refugees says it brought down every system they had. Peak falls quiet, thinking it all through. Your mind drifts too, thinking of the can channels, those vast acausal highways that prop up the core systems, and their endless appetite for resources. This system has been quiet for decades. Solheim collapsed, most corporations gave up their claims, and apart from the Kalis ships that came to begin work on the sidereal horizon, no one from the core has come here in all that time. You shiver as you imagine the attention of the core, The systems of logic and exploitation that created you created your suffering, turning towards the Helion system. A floodlight turned to this dark corner. A shrill bleep catches both of your attention, and Peak rushes to a screen, one showing a crude map of the station. On it, individual markers begin to flare up with insistent chirps. Peak looks puzzled for a moment, and then their face drops. No, no, no! They lean in close. This doesn't make any sense. What's happening? The flux nodes are appearing elsewhere on the station. Peak pulls at their hair. I'll set this system to alert me to other flux nodes near the epicenter of the flux event. But these are everywhere. The hub, the low end. How can this happen? The only reason we saw flux nodes here is because it is the most run-down part of the station. They were barely shielded. But others appearing so far after the event. Peak turns to you. You're going to need to get me the data from these nodes, and quick. I'll keep looking at what I have here, but I need to know why they're popping up everywhere. Right now? Right now. We can talk more about CAN channels and system history when you're back, but this needs our attention now. Peak turns quickly back to their monitor, their eyes following scrolling screens of codes spewing from the newly fluxed nodes. You leave quickly, but struggle to shake the image of the spotlight from your mind. You feel watched as you cross back into the pilgrim seed on your way to a shuttle bay. You hurry onward, eager to outrun the fear. Let's quickly remind ourselves what we have to do here. That's just for Peak, that's delivering flux data. In the dust houses, we've got one more thing to do here, and that'll kind of finish that off. So let's actually do that. I get a +2, so let's pop in our 4 there. Make sure we finish this. There we go. Aki's going to be pretty happy. You and Aki stand side by side at the viewing window in silence. The dust swirls, and you glimpse the twisted root systems of the steppe silk through the ochre haze. After all these cycles, you feel a strange connection to a world on which you've never set foot. Aki shifts from foot to foot. She seems restless, eager to speak but unsure of what to say. The dust houses look good. Aki smiles at you warmly. They do. She pauses and turns back to the window. What is the value of all this? She asks suddenly, of preserving a world we've left behind. Conservation? Aki is silent for a moment. These creatures should be protected, yes, but for us, their conservation is conditional. We keep them alive because we need to use them. I can't pretend we are conservators when we harvest as much as we are able. Aki paces away, lost in thought. I'm grateful to you for helping protect the dust houses, for ensuring their slide into decay is delayed, even averted. But now I find myself at an impasse. The stability of the dust houses changes things. It makes me aware of how blinkered we've been. Aki stops to look at you, her posture somehow different. If the ecosystems of steppe, if its people cannot grow to meet the future, why preserve it? She frowns. Are we just slaves to the preservation of what came before? Not slaves, inheritors, Aki nods. But the weight of this inheritance is heavy. Aki comes close, holding your hands in hers. We must change. We must change to live. She smiles. I have seen that in you. The steppe, these people, this ship, should serve more than heritage, than history. They should serve the future. She takes a breath. There are those in the flotilla that need clothes, that need food, that can benefit from the gifts of the steppe's ecosystem. I want you to invite them. Can you do that for me? How? I know that Sol sent you, she smiles. You can tell him Aki, captain of the wind's long shadow, invites all the people of the flotilla to come. I will. She nods. Aki steps away. You want to know about the flux, no? About its purposes, its origins? She smiles. You wish to protect your home as we could not. I'm afraid I don't have much to tell you. It is an exotic wave of sorts, an energy that passes through matter. It shifts the very charged particles which run through our electrical systems. It is possible to shield against it as you would radiation, as we have done with the dust houses, but only while it is weak. The flux event here was much like the first ones we felt on Ember's steppe, localized, destructive but bearable. But in time its strength grew. I don't know if it will be the same here, but... She pauses. It is coming from the center of the system, from the close orbit of Helion's star H1. That is all we could uncover. She's silent for a moment, unsure of what to add. I'm sorry I cannot offer more, but you're always welcome on this ship. She smiles. I hope I will see you when the others come. She squeezes both your hands. I hope this ship, these dust houses, can be more than a museum. I hope they can be a home. With this she turns and leaves, and you feel that word, home, resonating within you like a struck bell. So I'm expecting 2 of these clocks to be filled now. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. There we go. So let's have a look at the singers. So this is another 12 segment clock. So we would need 6 in here. I have 2 right now. So we can do half. No, not even half of it. Yeah, it's going to be about a third of it. I would like to see as much of the DLC as I can before we're forced to sort of have an ending in the series. We're in a scrap item. What did we get? Just scrap, I think. Those. Oh, and another one. More scrap. So, yeah. Let's re-roll that quickly. It's still a 2. Okay. Need to go buy food. These nodes that Pete wants us to look for, I assume they're on the more settled part of the station. I think so. I'm going to cross over anyway, so I'll eat at Emphasis Place. Let's go up and see if we can use this 2 on the sidereal. We might have a +2 or something I can use. See, his clock's going to go quick. What do I need to do? Oh, okay, yeah, I remember. Well, let's first of all go... So this is a flux node. It's a 4, or 5, or a 6. Well, I don't have that at the moment. Let's have a little look what others we can find. 4, 5, 6 again. 1, 4, 5, or a 6. Okay, well, can't do that now, can we? Can we do anything here? Well, I have a +2 here. Observe and explore. I'd rather get a 2 than not get anything. Got a 1. Okay, it's better than nothing. Better than nothing. I think we go and rest again. Feed the kitty. Lots of dry crackers, just like cats like. I'm kidding, of course. And let's end cycle. If we get any 4, 5s, or 6s, we'll try to do these... Well, there we go, right? Okay. Let's start off with a bit of food. Take us up to full on that. And then we'll do these nodes and get Peak's story going again. I think they're all 4, 5, or 6, isn't it? So it doesn't really matter. Although this +2, does that mean I can use a 3? No. Okay. Bypass that. Okay. Use that 4 here. I'm going to do the thing at the ship. We need to keep this ticking along, obviously. I think I'll just do a 3. That should be alright. Yep. So I don't have a clock, I just need to put something in here. Well, we've got a 5, so we'll put that in. Careless data. I presume I give that to Castor. Oh, what's this? Castor. Well, there he is. Okay. When you arrive at Lem and Mina's unit, Castor is already waiting outside, leaning beside the door. Forgive me, Sleeper, but Kalis is already buzzing with news of the breach. I was expecting you. Will this work? Don't worry, the breach cannot be traced to the specific IDs I'm about to create. Castor reaches into a pocket and produces a sleek green and white hand terminal. The data, please. Hand it over. You hand over a drive with the data and Castor fishes around for a converter cable to hook it up. He slots it into the terminal and after some whirring, a set of 2 transparent films marked with numeric sequences are produced. 2 tickets to an uncertain future. Castor smiles to himself. The child will go with Lem, of course. He pockets them. These are yours, but first, he holds out a white cube. Your side of the deal. What is it? Something to help us make use of you. He passes you the square and you rest it in your palm, a small, white, perfect cube. Suddenly you feel a sharp pain and flinch. The cube jumps from your hand and rattles along the walkway. You look at Castor apologetically. Castor smiles. Not to worry. It's done its job. Now it's time for you to do yours. You look down and see a tiny pinprick in the center of your palm. Nothing sinister. Castor puts the terminal away. This way we can keep track of you and the sidereal horizon. Whatever you need to do. Excellent. Castor hands you the transparent films and you can see shimmering portraits of you and Lem flickering beneath the surface. Go. Give them the good news. And he reaches across and buzzes the unit. Lem slides open the door, half dressed in his gear. Sleeper, what brings you up here? Come in. He beckons you inside. You look to the side, expecting to see Castor, but the wall is empty. The unit is cleaner, better organized than last time. Lem sits at the thin bar and gestures for you to sit. Mina's with some of the local kids. Someone has started doing lessons down the way. She seems to like it. Sit. You sit at the bar. What's up, Sleeper? I have some news. Oh, out with it then. Lem laughs. I have Kalis IDs for us. You have... Lem freezes. How? He blinks rapidly as if to wipe you from his vision. Does that mean... Yep. Lem stands up and paces around the unit. We have to pack. He starts laughing. Holy shit, we have to pack. He turns back to you smiling. How the hell did you swing this, Sleeper? A friend helped. Well, thank you, friend. You show him the ID films and he whistles at the portraits. Impressive stuff. He pats you on the shoulder. You should stay until Mina gets home. We can tell her together. I have to go. Of course. Well, if we need to do anything, give me a shout. He smiles warmly and then impulsively hugs you. I'll see you on the big day, all right? Take care of those passes. He laughs again at nothing in particular. You get up and go, looking one last time for Castor as you exit the unit. But he is still gone. And when you look, the cube doesn't seem to be where you dropped it. You walk back through the low end, its sounds muffled in your ears, deep in thought. Did whatever it took to get that ticket. Didn't get any, yeah. Oh well. Gonna do that last flux data here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cycles left until the sidereal leaves. So we're going to use that now to concentrate on the DLC story. So let's go and give these flux data things to Peak. Don't need to eat right now. Woof, there we go. This one. You watch as Peak works on the flux data, the nodes unfolding like flowers now. giving in to Peak's increasingly sophisticated decoding protocols. Seeing data like this as an image on a screen is an almost unrecognizable representation to you. It is nothing like swimming amongst nodes and threads. Despite this, Peak has proven themselves to be more than able to handle these complex data structures, even through this limited representational paradigm. The bay door hisses, interrupting your flow of thoughts. You turn to see Esh entering. Stay silent. Esh stalks into the bay, head down. She looks tired and not in a mood to talk. "How's the weapon hunt?" Peak asks without turning from their screen. "Slow, successful, tedious." Esh slams a bag down on a crate and hops up to sit on it. "You still unpicking balls of yarn?" "With the sleepers' help," Peak smiles. "They brought me some good stuff this cycle. Maybe they could help you find the weapons you were smuggling." It's clear that Esh doesn't appreciate Peak's tone. "Still looking?" "Uh-huh," Esh replies. "And whoever took them better be making the most of their rapidly shortening lifespan right now." "Esh," Peak cuts in without looking away from the console. "We talked about this." "This is my mistake, Peak, and I'll fix it how I want." Esh folds her arms. "I know one of the factions of the flotilla has taken them. I just need to find out." Peak holds up a hand. "Shh!" They lean in towards the screen. "Son of a..." "What?" "They hid it in the wave of the wave." Peak is whispering to themselves. It's alive." They lean back in their chair. Esh crosses over to look at the screen. "Alive?" "Well, it's growing, it's processing, it's quietly working away in the dark. Look." You cross over to the screen and stand beside Esh. In it, you can see that Peak has all 4 nodes decoded, and the pattern of shadows from inside them sit on the screen like dark stains. Then you notice it. The movement, the thin threads cross from one stain to another. As you watch, you notice that the movement only ever happens in your peripheral vision, as if this thing, this shadow, knows it is being watched. "This is how the other flux nodes appeared." Peak rubs their eyes. "They weren't fluxed by the wave, they were corrupted after the fact. This thing, this shadow that entered in the wave of the wave, it corrupted them. But it made the corruption look like the result of the flux. It's a sleight of hand." Peak runs a hand through their hair. "The flux wave is so massive, so complex that it opens up the systems to be attacked. As it reconfigures exposed systems, this shadow is broadcast implanted inside. The wave from the can channel, it is a brute force way of hitting every system in Helion. Once the systems are vulnerable..." Peak looks pale, their eyes reflect in the screens. "The flux isn't what's attacking the systems, it's the siege weapon, a Trojan horse. Then this thing takes over." Peak sits back in their chair. "And it's already on the eye." Wait. Esh rubs her forehead. "You're telling me there's a can channel in this system?" "Shit." Peak isn't listening. "This is bad. We have to talk to someone." "Or take this to someone." Peak looks desperately at you. "Helen, I think we'll deal better with this." "Is that wise?" Esh cuts in. Haven't exactly made good decisions lately." "They're the station administrators, Esh." Peak is desperate. "They need to know." The argument rages between them, and as you watch them shouting, you feel sick. After a while they stop, running out of things to say. An unsettling silence descends on the bay. "I need more time," Peak says quietly. "I need to look at solutions, try to build a case, collate the evidence. We messed this up." They look down at their hands. Esh goes to speak and then thinks better of it. "Not a word, Sleeper." Peak meets your eye. "Don't tell anyone until they're ready." They sigh. "With the tension among the refugees, Sol won't be ready to hear this, and Helene and Havenage are still mired in some kind of crisis. We tell Havenage, they're likely to react badly, and if we tell Sol, I doubt he'll take it well either. Oh, if you can calm the situation in the flotilla, then we can choose." We're twisted up in this, Peak," Esh says quietly. I didn't say it quietly. "This is not our place. We don't know." "Stop, Esh." Peak slumps in their chair. "Just stop." You leave them like that, exhausted and troubled, and head back out into the Pilgrim's Seed. When you close your eyes, you think of those shadows, that movement at the edge of your vision, something dark growing in the station like a parasite. You feel sick, your vision blurs. What comes next? You stop in a corridor and take a breath, putting a hand on a rumbling metal wall. For now, the eye keeps spinning. For now. Hey, we got an upgrade point. So, let's give something else a +2 then. It's going to be either engineer or engage. let's have a look at what these checks are. They are engineer checks. So let's give engineer a +1 then. There we go. Good. It's probably the last level we'll manage to do. Only got a couple of drives left, and they're both sort of end game ones. Well, we're resting and then go back to the flotilla, so let's just do it here. I'll use one of our scraps just to maintain our... I think I've got 3 stabilizer left, and we've only got about 6 cycles left in the game, so should be okay. Nice rolls. Okay. So let's head back to this. So yeah, so we're going to try and do this. We need 4 dice. So we should be able to do it with what we've got. Let's start with 5. And 4. Let's try it with a 3. I'm not sure what the neutral outcome. It might just be 1, so this might be a complete waste. No, positive outcome. Risk it again, I suppose. I was going to say, if it's a 1, I'll be really annoyed. But let's just finish it. Sleeper! Petter calls to you as you cross the axis. He is standing by the same railing as you saw him at last time, and he beckons you over. I've been hearing things. He gives you a sidelong look. Good things? Petter smiles. Mostly. He rubs his hands together nervously. You wait for him to speak. You know, on Song, I was a teacher. He glances at you, anticipating a response. Really? Petter sighs. Don't sound so surprised. Mechanical engineering, it's an essential subject on a moon where a single mechanical failure could mean the death of hundreds. He looks at the ground. The heat, the atmosphere, the radiation, all of it is hostile to us. My students knew this. Their work, their training was respected. As long as they were careful and respected Song themselves, they could have their choice of colony placements. They were always in demand. That meant I was respected, surrounded by friends and colleagues, always able to call in favours and repay them like for like. He frowns. Some colonies are small, close-knit. We look after our own. When the flux events started hitting, colonies went dark overnight. We all knew what those kind of failures meant. Like always, we lost more people than any of the other moons. He balls his hands into tight fists. Not a single one of my students left Song. Our future was cut off just like that. My future. He flexes his hands. What am I out here? What use am I? Song is a fading memory, and the systems we built there are useless outside its orbit. How am I supposed to move on from here? He looks at you, eyes steely grey and glinting. Find someone to teach. Petter pauses, thinking. You don't give up, do you, Sleeper? You just keep going. Petter shakes his head. You remind me of a student of mine, one who entered the program for one of the smaller colonies. They didn't have the advantages of some of the others, but they were stubborn as hell. By the end of the program, they were the most skilled of their peers. They didn't get the best assignment, maybe because they didn't spend much time making the kind of connections that would help you get there. But that didn't matter, because I knew they would make the best of anything they set themselves to do. Petter is smiling now, buoyed up a little by the memory. Singers are stubborn, Sleeper. We aren't going to change easily. We won't forgive easily or take help easily, but we'll hold strong. You can count on us for that. Petter stands from the railing. When you see Sol again, you can tell him that. You can tell him how the crew of the Ember's Song operate. Tell him we will resist. If that means resisting Earth's imperialist ambition, so be it. If it means resisting the flux, so be it. And if it means to, as you have, help others resist those same pressures, so be it. Petter smiles. And then tell him to leave us alone. He turns his step lighter and heads off towards the centre of the Axis's hub. There we go. So we can go and talk to Sol again. When you arrive at the bridge of the Pilgrim's Seed, Sol is waiting for you. You wouldn't believe the messages that have come through in the past few cycles, Sleeper. He smiles.
The ship from Steppe has sent a goodwill gesture, a whole cache of supplies from their own farms. He smiles. I'm not sure how we'll use them, but the gesture is a welcome one. Song, meanwhile, are apparently accepting supplies again, although a little reticently, if I may say so.
Sol smiles.
I don't expect them to change anytime soon, it should be said. And what I'm wondering, Sleeper, is what part you had in all of this.
Sol eyes you, waiting for an answer. I helped where I could.
I've come to expect that of you, Sleeper.
He smiles. You look at Sol, his eyes bright and eager, and wonder what he sees in you. Are you a tool to be used, or an ally? It can be hard to tell.
I want to show you something.
Sol squeezes your shoulder, turning you to face the lift. He leads you along the axis of the ship towards the engines, the clanking of his suit accompanied by the constant hammering and welding that fills the echoey bulkheads of the Pilgrim's Seed at all hours. With the cordon lifted and shuttles able to go out to salvage scrap and barter for supplies, the ship has become a place of transformation, moving towards some state yet to be revealed to you. You look at Sol. What is his plan here? What is he preparing the Pilgrim Seed for? Or are his sharp eyes simply focused on making it through the next cycle? Suddenly, Sol stops in front of a huge bulkhead door, like the seal on the front of a dry dock hangar. He signals to someone in a cabin high up, attached to the wall, and they begin the process of opening it up.
The Pilgrim Seed was built as a short-range freight carrier, you know?
The amber warning lights in the bulkhead door send spinning shadows across Sol's face.
We built it to ship the entire harvest from thousands of farms to the silos at Passereau. When we realized we'd need to leave, it was the biggest ship we could muster.
Sol raps on a metal plate.
And somehow she's carried us all the way out here.
You led the evacuation.
Me?
He laughs.
Not even close. I was a farmer, had a whole load of land and people to run it. And my people helped convert this place for the long trip.
He looks at his feet.
Others led, organized the evacuation, and debated the plan.
What happened?
Not one of those folks made it.
Sol rubs his forehead.
We were out in the black a long time before we got here, Sleeper. Things happen. The upshot is I was chosen to take over. I guess my crew trusted me, and I knew the ship. I argued, reminded them that I'm no leader, and that I'm sick, but, well, when service chooses you.
A loud klaxon sounds, indicating the bulkhead doors are ready to open. They groan as they slide back, the metal squeals echoing through the vast ship, bouncing off its hard-plated walls. At first, all you see is darkness. Then the lights go on, in huge strips that stretch back and back as far as you can see. The space in front of you, a vast bay, bigger than any you've ever seen, is empty.
When we left Hearth, we didn't have the time or resources to convert the entire ship.
Sol begins leading you into the massive space.
So much of the freight space we sealed away, shut down. But now we have time, we have resources. We stabilized here, at least for the moment.
Sol turns to you.
Now is the time we make use of all this.
What are you planning?
What do you think happens next for the Eye, Sleeper?
Sol sighs.
The flux has already hit one part of the station, and from what I know, it'll hit again. On Hearth, we lost everything. There isn't much time, Sleeper, but there is enough time to do something. Think of the number of people we can fit on here. The farming stacks, the housing. Hell, we can plant some of those mushrooms you love so much. This is the way forward, the only way. We need to fill this ship with able bodies and head for the starboard belt.
I thought the Eye was your destination.
It was, until the flux hit here. Now it's just another stop. I'm glad of the chance to resupply and salvage, but we need to go further out. I want you to help me. You know the Eye, you have connections, and you can work hard, I've seen it.
Sol meets your eye.
I know you are like me, Sleeper. You didn't choose service, but it chose you.
Can this work?
It has to, Sleeper. There's nothing else. I know it's a lot to think about, Sleeper, trust me.
Sol begins to lead you back out of the bay.
But think of what we can do here. The flotilla can't last forever. We need more than just farmers to make this work. We need to build a new world for ourselves. I've heard that out There in the belt there are people who've been setting up since the collapse, making something of their own. That's our future, tucked away in those rocks, far away from all of this.
Sol sighs.
I didn't bring my people here just to let them die somewhere new.
Sol crosses back over the threshold of the bay and signals for the operator to close it up. The door groans and Sol waits for it to stop.
Think about it, Sleeper.
Sol claps an arm on your back.
But don't wait too long. This is happening soon.
And he leaves you there in the silence of this vast bay, your head spinning with the thought of leaving the eye. Oh, we've got another upgrade point. Pretty much it for the flotilla. Oh, here we go. Episode Refuge complete. So I've completed all of the released story DLC now. Here it says Purge is coming in early 2023. As I'm filming this, just over halfway through January, it's about 20th of January, there's no current release date for it, so I'm a little stuck. So how do I clear this? I mean, I think I'm going to finish off the Lemon Mina ending. As far as I know, there's no way for me to sort of save this and then come back to it another time and maybe just finish off that chapter. I think this might be it. One, two, three, four, five. It's tricky. I think what I might do, bear in mind I've still got 5 cycles before I have to finish that. It's possible that'll be enough to do a meaty chunk of the next story DLC chapter. Which I am also invested in, you know, I want to see how it all pans out. Not to mention that Peak is working on trying to find out who's behind what's happening. And I kind of want to see that. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to pause this series, as I'd originally intended to do. And I'm going to wait until the Purge, the third of 3 story DLC chapters to be released, is out, and then I shall play that. And I've got 5 cycles to kind of work out whether I'm going to progress that to the end or sort of finish with Lemon Mina and go off with them. It's possible that when that timer happens, I mean, they've got their tickets. It's possible I can sort of wave them off and then finish the story DLC. So I don't think there's any need to rush to it now. As tempting as it is to kind of draw things to an end. So what I'll do, we'll pause here and we'll come back once that chapter's been released and we'll see where that takes us. So thanks very much for watching this episode of Citizen Sleep. I'm not quite sure when the next one will be coming out. As I said, it's supposed to be early 2023. It's already past mid-January, so I would hope that maybe within the next month that'll be out. I think the last one came out in October and the previous one was April, May, I think. So it seems like every 4 or 5 months they've released one. So I think that timing kind of works. And when we come back, I hope that you'll rejoin me then. So thanks very much for watching so far. Please leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the game and the series and how you feel about my decision to kind of pause it here to hopefully finish off the story DLC before having to make a decision on our ending. And subscribe to the channel too if you've not done so previously, because that would be great. So thanks very much, and I'll hope to see you when we return for the next episode of Citizen Sleeper. Bye for now.